welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucy from Lucy's Library and Pre-Loved Pages. So I thought it would be really fun to read a book that I've had on my shelf for quite a while that's coming out as a film next month. So the book that I'm going to be reading is called The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. Now this book is about two people, a married couple in their 50s, that lose everything and become homeless and just decide to walk the south coast in the UK. So I had this book on my shelf for like 2 months, and then when I went to watch Bridget Jones in the cinema, I saw a trailer for the film, and I was sat there watching it like, oh my god, I've got that on my shelf. And it looks really good. It's actually got Gillian Anderson in it. She's Ray, the main character, and I'm really excited because I really like her in films. I think she's an amazing actress. So I can't wait to watch that film. But I thought, of course, if there's a movie adaptation of a book, I have to read the book first. And it was already sitting there on my shelf ready and waiting, so I thought now is the best time. So let me read the back of the book to you, the blurb. It says, just days after Raina Wynn learned that Martha, her husband of 32 years, was terminally ill, they lost their home and livelihood. With nothing left and little time, they impulsively decided to walk the 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. Living wild and free at the mercy of the sea and sky, they discovered a new, liberating existence. But what would they find at the journey's end? I thought this sounded amazing. It sounds really emotional, gripping. I think there's a lot to learn in here. Maybe like themes of acceptance and determination and motivation. I think that it's going to be a really interesting read. Now, funny story about this. So this is based on a true story. This is a real life story that happened, but I didn't know that. So I turned up to my local book club. It was our first ever meeting last month, and I brought this book with me as the book of choice because obviously they're making it into a film next month, so I thought it's great timing. And I ran a poll on my business Facebook page asking for people's favourite genres. And literary fiction only got 1 vote. So most of the people who follow my page are local. So there's a few of the local book club members that follow my page that would have voted. And I thought, why does nobody like literary fiction? Like, I love that genre. So I picked this up thinking that it was going to be a lit fig, themes about homelessness and society being a social pariah and all of those themes. I thought they were going to be here as a lit fig book. I went there, I sat and I said, yeah, like, this book sounds really good. I love literary fiction. I had people, oh, what's literary fiction? I was going on telling them all about these amazing stories that, have all these different themes in, and they can be really emotional, they can really make you think. And I'm proper selling this book, and then a different book gets chosen as the book club pick. It gets picked randomly at our book club. And then I come to read this, so I do a bit of research on it, and it's actually a true story. So I felt like the biggest moron on the planet. So I put a post in our book club group and just said, like, guys, this book isn't literary fiction. I was talking rubbish. It's actually a non-fiction memoir story type thing. So that was embarrassing. But anyway, this book sounds really good and I cannot wait to get going with it. So that's The Salt Path, that's what I'll be reading. And then once I've read this, I'm going to watch the film and I'll vlog that as well. And I'll give you my full review of the book and the film and any comparisons. What did I think was better? What did I think could have been done better by the film? I don't know. I'm really excited to watch the film, so I'm excited to read this first. Okay, so it's quite late, so I have to be quiet. I've got less than 100 pages left. I know I haven't given many updates as I'm reading. I'm really enjoying this book. I'll talk more in depth at the end when I'm giving my full review of the book, but I just wanted to check in. It mentions pasties a lot, so I really fancy a pasty, like every night while I'm reading.
It's getting a bit ridiculous, but I might get a pasty tomorrow. We'll have to just see. But yeah, I'm just going to keep on reading. Got my little girl with me.
Okay, so it's a new day and I've officially finished The Salt Path by Raina Winn. Now, I really find it difficult to rate non-fiction books because although like you can be critical of the writing and such, like I read books mostly for the story, and it's really hard to criticize a story that's been based on true events. Because obviously the author is just writing from their own experiences. So that's something that I really do find difficult. I have settled on rating this book 3.75 stars. I rate on Storygraph, and you have quarter stars on there, so I've gone with 3.75 because I just don't think it was a 4-star read for me, but it was incredibly close. I thoroughly enjoyed the story. I thought that the book was incredibly inspirational. It was hopeful. It gave me hope that things that maybe aren't going to plan in my life will pan out okay in the end. It's a story that focuses a lot on resilience, and it's resilience that's not by choice. So our two characters have been put in this really awful situation, and they're pushing through and they're keeping going, and I think it's really motivating, and it is a really beautiful story. The way that the journey is described, you can really picture it in your mind. You can see those cliffs, you can taste the salt in your mouth. Like, the writing is really good, and I did really enjoy it. There were just parts for me that felt a little bit slow. There were certain bits where I was kind of getting a bit lost in the detail, and I wasn't really I was struggling to remain focused. And then some chapters were just a little bit too long for me, where it was a bit, I was struggling to kind of keep going, and it was just a slow paced book, which in certain times I really did enjoy, but then in others I just really wanted to get going with the story and find out what was going to happen. So that's why it wasn't quite a 4-star for me, but I did thoroughly enjoy this book, and I cannot wait to watch the film. The story is so emotional. I didn't cry reading it, but maybe the film, maybe it will make me cry. I don't know. I love Gillian Anderson, like I said earlier. I think she's a really talented actress, and when I was reading this, I was picturing Ray as Gillian Anderson. Because I've seen the trailer, so I know that like that's what the character looks like, and I was kind of reading it in her voice. I don't actually know what the real people in this book look like. I haven't researched that. So it'll be a couple of weeks. There's a couple more weeks until the film comes out, so it'll be a few more weeks until you see me again in this video. And I'm actually dyeing my hair a different colour, so in the next half of this video my hair should be orange. But you should already know that because I will have filmed and posted other videos in the meantime before this one comes out. So my videos will be like brown hair, orange hair, brown hair, just all sporadically mixed out until all of my content comes out, and then I'll just orange hair going forward. So yeah, I might look a bit different in the next clip, but that should be when we're going to the cinema to watch The Salt Path.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is Tuesday and I went to watch The Salt Path on Sunday afternoon, and I haven't got lots to say about the movie really. So I did really enjoy the film because the story of The Salt Path is amazing, beautiful, inspiring, hopeful, a really gorgeous story. So first of all, the film was very enjoyable and I really did enjoy the film. There were just some little bits that I'm not sure if because I've read the book they weren't as impactful watching it on screen when I already knew the story, or if it was because the film didn't portray it in the same way as the book did. The first major difference is the beginning of the book tells you what happened and why
Ray and Moth end up losing their home, and it goes chronologically through them deciding to do the path walk and then them going and doing it. The film starts off with they're on the walk, well, they're on the way to the walk, and we don't really know why. So it's kind of shown through flashback scenes, like gradually. So I think it's probably like the first half an hour or so it takes to actually see why they're doing the walk, how they lost the home, and the story behind that. So it kind of, I feel like if you didn't read the book and you were just watching the film, for the first half of it, you maybe wouldn't be taking it as seriously because you don't understand the struggles that are going on as much as reading the book and reading that story first before they get on to doing the walk. I don't know, it just kind of felt, I think it was a good way of showing the story, but when you've already read the book, that is a big difference that stood out to me. There was also, with regards to the Simon Armitage subplot or whatever, the book, I feel like it mentioned Simon's name a lot more before we actually found out who Simon Armitage is. But in the film, there was just the one couple that said, like, "Hi, Simon." And then straight away it was the scene where the guy takes them back to the holiday home and he gets the massage thinking he is Simon Armitage, and that's when we find out who Simon Armitage is and that Martha's been mistaken for him when they're calling him a poet and stuff. So I feel like in the book there was more instances. I'm not sure exactly how many times Simon's name was mentioned before we found out who he was in the book. I've just flicked through a little bit, but I know that we find out who he is at around the 100-page mark, which is just over a third of the way in, so maybe I'm misremembering, but I felt like there was more build up to the suspicions of who that is, why they call him Moth Simon. I feel like that was more present in the book. There was one scene that really made an impact on me from the book that was not present at all in the film, which shocked me a little bit, and that is when Ray and Moth don't have any money left, or they've not got much money left at all, and Ray is in the shop and she's going to buy some fudge bars, and she has the inner turmoil of should she just steal the fudge bars, put them in her pocket and take them, and I think she does do that in the book. And that to me highlighted how you can be a good person with good intentions but end up having to turn to things that you wouldn't normally do in these circumstances. And I thought that it was a really effective way of portraying these people as real people with all different dimensions to them. They're not characters in a story, these are real people with real decisions that are hard and tough, and that inner turmoil is something that she had to battle with. Being in a situation like that they're in, you do end up resorting to doing things that you wouldn't normally do. It's just a part of how humans work, and I think that the book did a really good way of portraying that, and that's something that I thought was missing from the film. Some highlights of the film though, definitely Gillian Anderson's acting. She portrayed Ray so amazingly, it was beautiful to watch. She was, I think, the perfect choice for playing her. She acted like a person. Like I said, she wasn't playing a character, it looked like a real person going through the emotions that Ray was facing on that walk, and Gillian did an amazing job of portraying that. And I also just have to say, the UK countryside and nature that we have is just so beautiful. Some of the camera work, the scenery was just gorgeous, and I feel so lucky that it's something that we have in our country and we can go and see. In conclusion, I would say that if you think The Salt Path sounds like a really lovely story and you have no prior understanding of it, you've not read the book, then I think that the film is a really lovely film and it's done very well and you will definitely enjoy it. I can't really fault it because the story is amazing and the acting is amazing and the camera work is beautiful. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would definitely go and watch it. However, the book, The Salt Path, is so much more in-depth and it's written directly from Ray's words. So She actually wrote this book. She wrote all of her notes up from the walk and gave it to Moth as a birthday present. That's something that it said at the end of the film. And then those notes got published into this book, so it's really beautiful. It comes straight from her mouth, her source. So this is definitely the best way to consume this story and this piece of media, in my opinion. It is a slightly more slower paced book, so if you do feel like you've not got the time to fully commit to reading it, the film was still amazing and beautiful, and I would still recommend that you go and watch that too. I enjoyed both versions of the story. It's something that really has inspired me quite a lot, and I feel like the resilience is something that everyone can learn from, and I just think it's beautiful. So that's all from me on my full journey of reading and watching The Salt Path, and that's my opinions on the book and the film. Overall, I really enjoyed both, and I would recommend that everybody engages with this piece of media in either form, either the book or the film. I think it's a story that everybody should be told. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more from me, please like, comment and subscribe to my channel. It means so much because I'm still trying to grow and I would love to carry on making these videos. I'm so happy that there's just a couple of people who are interested in what I have to say, and I hope that my opinions come on a slightly different turn to most of the booktube community, or I talk about stories that not everybody talks about, so I'm super grateful for every one of you that's clicked on any of my videos or even just visited my channel. My last video was a small business tour, and all of the products that you saw on there are available to purchase on my website www.lucieslibrary.co.uk. I ship UK wide, so if there's anything on there that you'd like to have a look at, if you've got any ideas for any more designs or products that you'd like to see from me, you can always contact me and I'd love to have a look at it for you. I'd love to do more of these book versus movie adaptation videos. A series that I've got on my shelf that you can see behind me is The Hunger Games, and I've never read them and I've never watched the films, so that might be a series of videos that I'll be looking at doing, reading each book and watching each film and comparing them and discussing them. If you're interested in that, do let me know in the comments down below. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one of my videos.